All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show, coming out of Levi Stadium. A little recap of the mini camp. I thought Purdy looked really good. He hit a number of big passes today. Hooked up with Mason Klein on a ball that was impressive. I thought Purdy's most impressive throw was a ball, kind of a deep crosser to Jacob Cowing. Cowing made an amazing catch in traffic and came down with it. Really nice pass, really nice route, really nice hands by Cowing. That stood out to me. I thought, Patrick Taylor looked pretty good to me today too. The running back that came over from Green Bay in free agency. Super athletic, big target in the passing game. Really an interesting player. So Patrick Taylor looked good. Garendo looked good. I thought Cody Schrader, for the first time, kind of showed himself out here on the practice field. He looked really good. Cody Schrader, just so quick, so explosive. Really fun to watch. So he stood out to me. Offensive line-wise, definitely Purdy and Nugent are two guys that look to me like they potentially could start. Wouldn't surprise me at all if those guys wind up starting at some point this year. Nugent is shorter than ideal, but really athletic, smart, experienced. He's interesting. He was an all Big Ten first team offensive lineman this last year. He was a captain at Stanford for more than a couple years. So he's really interesting. And then Purdy, I thought, moved around really well today. He looked good. He very athletic, very explosive. Tight end wise, I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Mason Klein. Klein has looked really good. And, you're talking about a big guy with hands, smarts. He's a very interesting football player in that, undrafted free agent, former basketball player. I think there's a lot of people that probably doubt whether this kid is going to have an NFL career. But when you watch him, they used him a lot today. He's got good hands. He's a big target. He's not clumsy. Kind of reminds me, if you said, give me somebody that he reminds you of. He kind of reminds me of like a 6'7" version of Brent Jones. He's got good hands. He's got good hand-eye coordination. He's definitely understands how to sit in the soft spot on his own. He's got a pretty big catch radius. But as far as this guy's really smart, like Brent, and he kind of reminds me a little bit of the way Brent used to run. Looks a little bit like Klein. Klein's obviously a little bit taller than Jones, but he reminds me a little bit of kind of a 6'6", 6'7" version of Brent Jones. So that's good. That's a good thing for the 49ers because Brent Jones was a hell of a football player. As far as the defensive line, Leonard Floyd and Yatir Gross-Matos, are definitely impressive rushing the passer. I wanted to see Evan Anderson today, but I couldn't find him out there. I couldn't hone in on him for any period of time. But he was number 60 and he flashed on a couple of plays, but I just couldn't get him, I couldn't see him for any extended period of time. But for a guy who's 315 pounds, who's down from 350, he really does look quick. So, watch him this summer. He's going to wear number 60. Niners gave him $280,000 guaranteed in bonus money to sign as an undrafted free agent to lure him here. I asked Kasarik about him a few weeks ago, or last week, and he said that he was instrumental in him coming here to the Niners. So they obviously like him. They've made a sizable investment in him, and he's at 315 pounds, and you can see the movement ability. This guy's strong as an ox. If you watch Evan Anderson film, you'll see him splitting double teams and just doing it forcefully. He's just very, very strong human being. But then what he's showing on the football field out here is a little bit more quickness. than you saw when you watched him at FAU, because he's dropped some LBs. So he, to me, looks really, really good. I thought Devondre Campbell, you know, he was talking a lot to Johnny Holland on the sideline. Jalen Graham, I think these guys are going to be nice additions to have. I mean, I think of Graham as almost a new addition, simply because he was underutilized so much last year. But Jalen Graham, D. Winters, Devondre Campbell, Tatum Bethune, there's a lot of options now, linebacker, for the 49ers. And then defensive back-wise, I thought Renardo Green stood out to me today in coverage. I mean, he's a competitive, athletic guy with tremendous footwork and a lot of fire and a lot of confidence and a lot of swagger. So that's a great addition. To me, if you said, you know, how do you feel about the draft now that you've been to minicamp, I would say, well, Pearsall's definitely a good route runner. Cowing is definitely got big-time explosive ability. Garendo is an unknown, but Cody Schrader, to me, looks like a legit running back. Plyan looks like a really good receiving tight end. I would say Pooney and Nugent look like they could be starter potential on that offensive line. Evan Anderson looks like he's got to have a great chance at a job on the defensive line. They're going to miss Greenlaw, but I think this is the year Jalen Graham comes of age. And then secondary-wise, you know, adding Renardo Green and Malik Mustafa, you can kind of see that those are two real, you know, alpha-type guys with swagger. And that's going to help them immeasurably as well. So overall, if you're a 49er fan, I think you got to feel good coming out of the minicamp. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.